Ooh, say something in the mic.
Something.
That's how we go live on Facebook. You got to test and make sure it actually works.
I always take that very literal when you say
something.
Yeah.
It worked. I just needed to see the little spike. See if this is going to work on Facebook. So right now we are streaming officially on Facebook.
Oh, shit. Hey, and there's the first swear. Yeah. Put it in the swear jar.
There's the swear jar. That's important. This week at least. All right, you ready?
Yes.
This is episode 5, right?
Yes, this is episode 5.
All right. Let me get my time down. 6:45 on the nose. All right.
Who's Anonymous Rhino?
What?
Is that you in there?
On what?
In the
Slack?
No, in the Google Drive, there's a person in the episode titles and description.
Oh, I am.
Okay, good.
I have it open.
Okay, good. I was like, who is that?
Yeah, I have it open somewhere.
Okay.
Where do I have it open? I do have it open somewhere. Yes, because I was copying out.
Got it. Okay. I always worry when I see like a little person pop up in the corner because I'm like, who are you?
Yeah, I was in it.
Should you have access to this?
I was using it earlier. I think I opened it a few days ago. Whenever you sent it first, I opened it. I don't think I've ever even closed it. Oh yeah, I'm definitely in it. You watch. There, I just closed it. All right. It's Saturday, and this is episode 5, and we're Facebook blooper number 1. I had no idea, like, what am I talking about? Like, as soon as I said it's Saturday, I was like, what are we talking about?
Luke Cage, new game.
Yeah.
Luke Cage, new game. Luke Cage, new game.
Oh. All right. It's Saturday, and this is episode 5, and today we're talking about the highly anticipated new original Netflix series, Luke Cage, and we're going to introduce a new game. Welcome to Any Given Saturday. Any Given Saturday.
Oh, the bloopers today.
That is not the first time I've done that.
No, I think that's like the third.
This is the show that provides both the fan and critic point of view. I'm the fan, Dan Powers, sitting alongside with Mastermind.
Still the critic mastermind, Bailey Hempel.
You know, yeah, lots of bloopers. I only have one question for you today.
I probably have one answer.
Well,
or
actually,
5.
I might have more questions after this, I'm sure. But I only have one question to start. So this is Saturday evening.
Yes.
Both of our favorite football team just played.
Yes. The Huskers.
And won.
And won. By a little bit.
Yeah, it was a rough game. It was a little slow start. We got some injuries. We got the bye, so we'll be ready.
We're good. We're good
for the next couple weeks. But
5-0.
Now that we're 5-0, and now that the game is over and it's Saturday night, what are you going to do the rest of the evening?
I am going to drink myself into oblivion. No, I'm just kidding.
That was during the game. That's not what I thought we were going with this.
No, that was during the game. I am going to spend the rest of my evening binge watching Luke Cage on Netflix.
Luke Cage, you say?
Luke Cage.
I am right there with you. So we agreed to watch a little bit of it so we can talk about it on this show. How many episodes did you get in?
I got into 3. I figured that was a good stopping point because I think there's 13 episodes.
Yeah, I think there's 13 episodes total, and I did 4.
Ooh,
and
overachiever.
I was struggling. I was tired when I got through the third one, but the way the third one ended, I'm like, well, I got to see the beginning.
Oh, it's good.
And I wanted to know what happened. I ended up watching all 4, and technically I seen a little bit of 5. Just a little bit.
You saw like the opening before the credits?
I seen probably the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's rough trying to like start it on Friday after you get off work and you're like, I'm kind of tired, but Oh, I powered through. I was like, I need to watch these 3.
I turned it on this morning. I was like, I'm going to watch episode 5. But then I realized I'm not ready for anything for today. I got a lot of stuff to do. So I watched 5 minutes or so. I seen enough to know that Rosario Dawson?
Rosario Dawson.
You know, I'm actually surprised I got even that close to
Yeah,
that
it was
name.
pretty close.
I was trying to do it by, trying to remember what her name was. And I should know because she is fantastic in this role. But I've seen enough that she pops up in episode 5.
Nice.
So I don't know and now I'm jumping way ahead. It'd be curious. I don't know anything about her role. I mean, we know what her role is, but I don't know how she's playing in Luke Cage or how it comes to be. So
if you haven't been paying attention to this series, she has actually popped up in both Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and now Luke Cage. So she's almost like the glue that's holding this series together so far.
That's when I seen her, and I knew she was going to be in this, but it makes you wonder, is she going to have a bigger role at some other point? Like, I have no idea. We're jumping. We got a lot of other stuff to talk about, but with that one piece, I'm like, well, she is the one character that has literally been somehow in every series, and it's a small part, but they're doing it for a reason.
Yeah. It's definitely going to play a part. Like, there's always the long game.
Yeah.
We just don't know what that long game is.
We don't know what that game is, but it has me curious to what she looks like. But, all right, let's start with this overall. What'd you think of it?
Love it. I love how they're doing. So each defender in this series, because eventually they will bring in Iron Fist as well, but they each have their own feel. Like Daredevil kind of has a religious aspect to it.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones is kind of more like sassy girl power.
Yeah.
And then Luke Cage has gone full modern I just messed that up. Blaxploitation, and I love it. It is awesome. It's so 70s.
I love the 70s feel. But I seen what's the creator's name? Like
Creator of the comic or the show?
Yeah, created the show for Netflix.
Chio Hodari Coker?
Yep, Coker, that's his name. But I remember he said this is the first, or what did he say? Something about, I pretty much made the blackest show in history of TV.
It's so great. And I love that it's like, he is a superhero. He does not wear a cape. He walks around in jeans and a hoodie and is bulletproof. Now, the greatest black superhero you could ever have.
I do like the fact, so you haven't got there. In episode 4, you'll get to see him in his traditional, original...
as Carl Lucas?
Yeah, so Carl Lucas became Luke Cage, but when the transition happened and he had his very first, I don't know if you've seen his uniform before, or his superhero outfit. It's a little bit of disco-y with the headband, but if you look up his original, he is in it for just a brief moment in episode 4.
Ooh.
And then he says how ridiculous he looks.
Oh, cool. Like he has the open
the
shirt.
yellow.
Does he have the chain?
Yeah, he has some chain or belt. He has something to represent that, yes. I don't know if it's specifically a chain, but he has it on. He has that outfit because he has to steal some clothes from somebody, and he puts them on. And so he looks like that, and he has the headband for just a split minute, and then he goes, this is ridiculous, and sheds it. So
I love it.
No, but I like your aspect on it because I didn't think about the religion. So Daredevil is a religious. If you guys didn't know, in the comic, it has a religious tone to it.
Because he's got the Irish Catholic thing going.
Yeah, he does a lot of things with the priest. The priest knows who he is, and he does a lot of confessions. And
he talks about the devil a lot.
A lot. So I didn't think of it at that aspect. I just thought I loved how all these shows are kind of gritty, a little bit darker. This one I thought overall seemed a little bit even darker yet and more gritty, but I really loved how they've taken the storyline through the first one. I was like, okay, a little like where are they going?
Got to set it up.
No ass kicking yet. I'm looking for him just to punch somebody, please.
But I like that though, because especially if you watched him in Jessica Jones, he was kicking ass in that, and he kind of after the fact went back to Harlem and is like, nope, I'm just gonna kind of hide out here. And one of the characters, one of his good friends, Pop, even says like, you need to get out there and help people. And he's like, nope, I don't want to do that. Of course, we all know that's changing. that's going to change.
Well, there's several references to the Invisible Man book. He even holds it in one of the episodes. I think that was episode 2. Where he holds it, but for those that don't know, and I don't know a lot about the book, but I do know it's about a culture of being raised as a black man in society back in the 50s, I think it was. The book is early 50s, and it's how you can get lost as a black man because of your surroundings and because you are black and all these things. You don't get to see the real man, so you see culture and you see the Harlem, and you see and you judge people based off of that and not off the real man. So I think there's a lot of play into that, because he seems like he's really trying to almost get lost somewhat and not talk, not be out there, and let the surroundings just kind of consume him, and he becomes invisible within those surroundings. So I thought that was very interesting.
They've really gone into kind of like the Harlem culture as well, and I love that because I think that's something that we never get to see in any type of story surrounding New York, because it's always like, oh, look at Brooklyn, or, oh, look at Manhattan, and it's Harlem. There's a great community here, and they really go like kind of the politics and some of like the unwritten everyone knows about, because like they do in the show, this character Pop, like they always say his barbershop is Switzerland, and I love that because it's like everybody knows that that's what that is. Doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, what you're doing right now that's possibly shady. Everybody knows that place is, you're not supposed to touch that, and it's fascinating. It's really interesting social commentary. Like,
I think they do where they actually make the community. You always hear like some of these shows, they say New York or the city is like the other character, but they really do a good job, I think, making Harlem become part of the show.
Yes.
If this show didn't have Harlem and it was in Chicago, it would have a very different feel, I think. Like, I mean, it would still be good, I'm sure, but they really spent a lot of time making factor, and they really get deep into the weeds, and I really
like how a lot of the residents have been there forever. They grow up and kind of they'll leave and come back, and like one of the characters who I'm sure you'll have more information on, Misty Knight, who is a cop on the show.
Misty Knight. Do you know who Misty Knight is?
I do, yes, but come back to that. But she talks at one point. She's trying to get information from some youth in the area, and they're on a basketball court, and you know they're like messing around, and she's like, I'll challenge you to horse, and the kid's like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'll take you. And then she points to a little area where they have like all of the best basketball players who played on this court, and her initials are there, and she's like, yeah, I've been here, this is my court. Like this is what I'm talking about. It's like it's not just a superhero story, like it's a story about this community and like how he is, I wouldn't say a savior, but like he is protecting this community.
I love Daredevil. I thought Daredevil was fantastic. This might actually be my favorite though so far.
Yeah,
like this one, they're doing the storyline, I think, is so much better. You're getting to learn about so many different people at a different level. I don't know how they even pull that off, but even Cottonmouth, I feel like I have a connection to him. Like I'm interested in that character. I was not as interested in Kingpin, although Kingpin, growing up in the comics, that was the guy that I was most like. I love Kingpin in the comics.
Kingpin was in Daredevil, by the way, and Cottonmouth is kind of your questionable big bad in.
Well, I definitely don't think he's going to be.
Well, he's not the biggest bad, but he is currently the big bad.
So we're not very far into it, so let's speculate for a moment with Cottonmouth. I think there's two scenarios that are going to play out here. Is Cottonmouth is either going to be taken care of in the first 5-6 episodes and be a second-tier bad guy, and then we'll have to deal with the notorious Diamondback that is mentioned early on, or the other thing that could happen is Cottonmouth can kind of take a back seat and somehow play his cards to try to be the kingpin, I guess, of Harlem, and you'll see him overtake kind of Diamondback's position, or Luke Cage will deal with Diamondback somewhere in the middle of this and have to come back to Cottonmouth, and Cottonmouth will replace him. I don't know. At first, I thought these stories traditionally, how Daredevil at least seem like, is it sets up where there is a earlier character or bad guy villain that we deal with.
Yeah.
That villain's done with, and then we go on to the bigger one. But for some reason, to me, they have this connection with Cottonmouth and they're playing him up so much. I don't know if they're going to do that. I almost think that you're going to see Cottonmouth kind of be pushed to the side temporarily. So Luke Cage will have to deal with Diamondback, and Diamondback will be dealt with however, and I'm assuming, and then my guess is Cottonmouth kind of slides back into Diamondback's role and kind of elevates his status. I kind of hope that happens, although that doesn't seem like their traditional path for these kind of stories, but they got me connected to Cottonmouth just as much as I am with Luke Cage. So
yeah. Well, and Cottonmouth. So, kind of how this is working out so far, is he is kind of like the nightlife guy, like a kingpin again. But he's cousins with a councilwoman in Harlem, and so of course there's some shady stuff happening there where money's getting pushed around and people are doing favors, and yet again, it's about the community. It's like it's coming back into this whole series. It's I love it.
I really enjoyed it. Now, for me, I enjoyed it a little more because I know just a little bit of the story before it actually came out. I know a little bit of the comic. I didn't follow Luke Cage a ton, but I did follow one of the series that he was in. So, spoiler alert, we probably already spoiled the shit out of this thing a couple of times.
No, we haven't, because I mean, we've kept away like a lot of the plot here.
Yeah. Well,
just brief character synopsis.
So this might be a spoiler alert. This doesn't mean this is what is happening or gonna happen, but it appears to me, the little bit that I know about Luke Cage's background, they do seem to be following it somewhat. So Luke Cage, as you said earlier, was Carl Lucas.
Yes.
Which Carl Lucas grew up in Harlem, got into trouble. He was ran around in a gang with his buddy Stryker. There's so many Strikers.
I know, right?
Stryker. I think it's Willis Stryker or something like that. They were in a gang. They always fought with a rival gang, and he did a lot of petty, illegal actions, and for the mob that he worked for. Eventually, though, I got a cough. Eventually, though, he realizes the pain and the problems he's causing his family, and he decides to try to go straight and narrow. So during that time, though, him growing up, his aspiration was to be the kingpin of Harlem. So he wanted to be the crime boss in Harlem. But he gave that up, and he goes straight and narrow, gets a legitimate job. So while he does that, he's still buddies with Stryker. And Stryker continues on, and at some point, Stryker almost gets beat to death, and Carl Lucas steps in, saves Stryker. But Stryker's girlfriend is so shooken up that she wants out of the crime scene, and she leaves and goes to Carl Lucas as kind of her ear, and they start to have kind of a fling. So Stryker, his lifelong buddy, gets jealous, and Stryker sets up Carl Lucas, basically plants heroin on him, and he ends up in prison. So,
I believe the woman that you're talking about is Dr. Riva. Am I right?
Dr. Riva that's in the prison?
Well, that's the other.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where I think the story got different, is in...
I don't know,
because his Luke Cage's wife in Jessica Jones is Reva Connors.
I couldn't remember her first name, but yes. So the doctor. So there is that. I didn't remember what episode that was for sure. 3 or 4. He goes to prison. I think episode 4 is where they start to do flashbacks to his prison life, and the doctor in the prison life is his wife. So that's no shocker. There's no spoiler. Like if you remember back seeing Jessica Jones, you could put 2 and 2 together. That is his wife. I couldn't remember if that was the same person though that was Stryker's girlfriend and had the falling out and all that stuff.
I swore it was.
I could tell you though, in episode 4, they meet for the first time and there's no connection. They don't know each other.
Okay, so then they might not be following that story necessarily.
But no, I do know he was sent to prison. For some reason that he wasn't guilty of. They haven't told that yet. But that's essentially, So that's how he gets into prison. And in prison, he is he is harassed by Billy Bob. Billy Bob is the guard, the main guard over the facility. What original name for a black comic to have the white guy named Billy Bob, right? Like that's a true 70s, like. But Billy Bob harasses Carl Lucas during his time there, and almost beats him to death. And as a recovery method, the doctor solicits him for a project, a secret project, where they're trying to recreate essentially the secret serum
From Captain America.
from Captain America. So Luke Cage accepts that. He goes through the process, and during the process, Billy Bob actually sabotages it. And as a result, he gets more of the serum than he's supposed to. And Billy Bob thought it was going to kill him, but instead, Luke Cage, or Carl Lucas, comes out, and he's even bigger, stronger, and he's now can take a bullet to the head and it doesn't hurt him. So he becomes even more of a superhero than what we even thought he would be. So,
Ooh, you are all kinds of coffee today.
Coffee. Nevertheless, so that's the kind of the premise of how he becomes Luke Cage. Now, the interesting things we didn't talk about is Diamondback, first of all. So Diamondback is mentioned early on in the show.
Yes.
And they
like
reference him.
Very first episode he's mentioned, and you're like, who is that?
And Diamondback's clearly the big kingpin in Harlem or wherever. He is the big guy that's running the show. Well, Diamondback actually is his buddy Stryker. So Stryker has moved up through the mob over the years, and Stryker has become Diamondback, and he is running the show. So there is very close ties and some unanswered business there. So you know that is going to be a battle at some point during this show.
Oh, yeah. The showdown's coming.
That's going to be huge. And then you mentioned Misty Knight.
Yep.
Now, this is the part that excites me the most, personally. The fact that Misty Knight is really the girlfriend of Iron Fist. So
Which is the next series coming up from Marvel.
Iron Fist is the next series. I'm super excited for that. So I said earlier I didn't follow Luke Cage, but I did follow
Iron Fist.
I did follow a comic. Well, they have a comic out when I was a kid. It was called Power Man and Iron Fist.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke Cage
was Power Man.
Becomes Power Man eventually. So Luke Cage gets out. He goes through all this stuff. Essentially, after he becomes superhero. Well, he gets the super serum. He breaks out. He goes back to Harlem. He actually figures out early on that people need a hero, so he signs himself up to be hero for hire. And he sets up an office, which now they have the barber shop. People come and they would pay him to go fix things, save people, do things like that. And he became Luke Cage, hero for hire. That was the original comic. So they're playing. If you get to episode 4, towards the end in episode 5, you see how that they're starting to transition and tell the hero for hire story. Eventually, he's set up, and he decides to take a new name, and he drops Luke Cage, and he becomes Power Man. Power Man becomes his name. He eventually hooks up with Iron Fist, and they form a team, and they become Power Man and Iron Fist, heroes for hire.
And just so you're clear, this is stuff that happened in the comics, not on the show.
All comics.
So there's a possibility that some stuff will change. Some of it might stick pretty close to it, though.
I'm guessing the foundation will probably be similar, but a lot of how they get through it and stuff will change. Eventually, Luke, Power Man and Iron Fist, they become part of the Defenders, and
teaming
the story
up
goes
with
on and on.
Daredevil and Jessica Jones, so we get our great big series.
That is going to be fantastic when that happens.
I'm excited.
But Power Man has been Luke Cage has been through all the different shows. He's been part of the Avengers. At one time, the Daily Bugle hired him to go fight, to go capture Spider-Man, and he actually gets in a fight with Spider-Man. So
I would love to see that tie-in.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So I will tell you, earlier when we were watching football, Netflix was down for a couple of hours and people were losing their shit because they were like, I'm trying to watch Luke Cage. So Luke Cage actually broke Netflix because so many people were trying to stream it.
Last night during episode 1, early on, halfway through it, it stopped and it gave me some weird error. And I had to close out, and I tried it a few times, and finally, my third try, it came back on. But I'm like, "Don't fuck with me now, right? Like,
right? Yeah.
Holy shit!"
It was funny too because people were tweeting at Netflix and at Luke Cage, the actual Twitter account, and Luke Cage, the Twitter account, responded back and said, "Hey, yeah, people are fixing this, so we're good. But in the meantime, you guys might want to keep this in mind." And tweeted a photo of the swear jar, which is a running gag in this show where anytime someone swears, they're supposed to put it in Pop's swear jar because he does not like profanity. He keeps it old school. We over
Definitely.
here clearly need a swear jar because Dan's over there dropping fucks every 2 seconds.
Well, we should have it. Maybe that'll pay for some of this.
Oh my God,
some of
that'd
the
be
equipment we need.
hilarious.
Pay for our bills. What did you think of the casting?
So good. Okay, Mike Coulter is amazing.
He's
and
fantastic as.
I do remember. I just saved a tweet because I had to bring this up. There was one guy on Twitter that I follow who said the most far-fetched thing about Luke Cage is that he'd have to sweep barber hair and bartend instead of becoming a famous, beautiful model. And I was like, that's so true because Mike Coulter is a beautiful man. Like, it's not even fair. I haven't seen a ton of these people before. That's not to say that they haven't been around. It's just I haven't seen a lot of them. But I do know Alfre Woodard. She's been in tons of stuff, and she plays
around,
the councilwoman.
Yeah.
But they do bring back, I noticed too, they brought back Turk, who shows up in Daredevil.
Who's Turk? Which one's Turk?
He's the
Oh yeah.
the snitch.
Yeah, Turk. Yeah,
because he's around in Daredevil,
You're right,
and I
yep.
think he's in Jessica Jones too, for one thing, where she like kind of roughs him up to get some answers. But he goes to Harlem and is just kind of hanging out there, snitches, and then he's like, "I'm done. I'm going back to Hell's Kitchen. This place is crazy."
Yeah, I forgot about him. The only guy I was questionable on in the casting was Frank Whaley. He's actually Misty Knight's partner, the cop.
Yeah,
And it wasn't that he's bad. It's just I thought everybody else they casted was really good, and he was just on par.
I like him though because he's kind of neurotic, which I feel like is going to be a good thing. Because I don't feel like he has good intentions. Let's just say that.
Well, maybe he's casted appropriately then.
Yeah,
Because you'll find out in
I
episode
saw him
4.
and I was like, I don't like him. I like maybe I just have like a sniffer
No,
for trouble.
I didn't do. Now I know there's a bunch of Easter eggs out there in the first couple episodes. I didn't happen to go through and see them all, and I didn't look them up. I did notice that when I wrote it down, the only thing I noticed right away in episode 1 is they talk about Hammer Tech. Do you remember when they referenced
Yes.
the guns from Hammer Tech,
Mhm.
which is a reference to Mike Hammer, which is part of the Iron Man series. So Iron Man 2, there was the whole show was about Mike Hammer and his Hammer Corporation and making weapons and stuff.
Justin Hammer?
Was it Justin Hammer?
Yeah. It was Justin Hammer.
God damn it.
That was the
I
one who was
coulda
played by
swore it
Sam
was Mike-
Rockwell
yeah,
in the movie.
Justin Hammer?
Yeah, but he was
How
trying
am
to
I wrong
recreate
about that?
the suit.
I think that's wrong.
No,
Damn Marvel.
it's on the
Oh,
Marvel Wiki.
All right. Clearly I'm wrong. Nevertheless, Iron Man 2, that reference. I didn't catch too many other ones. I know there was a bunch of other ones.
They reference the Avengers a lot in the incident in
Yeah.
New York, obviously. Yeah, because I swore they mentioned Thor, like out of just a side reference.
They mentioned him. They didn't say the word Thor. I thought they said something about the long hair, the blonde guy with the hammer, or
Yeah,
something of
like
that
that.
nature. That early on, I wasn't really looking for the Easter eggs, but apparently
It takes a couple viewings to
Yeah.
really catch those because I feel like the first time you watch it just for the story,
the story.
and then the second time you're like, I'm going back and I'm going to look for things now.
Yeah, totally how I was doing it. I was trying to. I mean, that's why I said I like knowing at least the backstory of the comics somewhat.
Yeah.
Because then it helps me follow the storyline and kind of anticipate what I want to look for.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't look for many Easter eggs, but I heard there was a lot in episode 1 at least.
Well, and then there's even ones that, I mean, I'm sure we won't even pick up some, like, certain songs have been
Yeah.
used
Well,
that have, like,
I will say,
jokes.
out of all the shows, they've really focused a lot on the music in this show.
I
There's
love the
a lot of
music.
music in this show.
Especially when they're in Cottonmouth's club.
Yeah,
And whatever song the person is singing relates to whatever's happening outside of the club.
yeah.
It's, oh my God.
There's a bunch of that. Even,
great.
even all the way through episode 4. They continue that on. So
And it's, like, great, like, jazz and blues and...
maybe they're
oh.
making a soundtrack play.
Marvel has some great soundtracks. I
Well,
mean,
you
if we're
know,
talking
remember-
like Guardians of the
You remember
Galaxy.
Disney made movies forever, and there was no soundtrack really. And then eventually they said, "Hey, we can make money on soundtracks too."
I would buy the Luke Cage soundtrack if it comes out. So
They have I just was really surprised, and it works really well how they do it in the show.
yeah, it's weird because it's like it's good background noise to the setting, but at the same time you're like, wait, I'm hearing the lyrics to this, and it sounds almost like what they're talking about.
There's some good action scenes. I think it's number 4. where a guy they're flipping back and forth between the guy on stage singing, he's trying out for the club, and they flip back to just Luke Cage pounding the shit out of somebody, and it's just back and forth, and it's really, really
that
well
happened
done.
with the fight that was in the trailer where he takes the car door and wraps it around the dude. Same thing was happening where they were singing, and he was just
now I will
the hell
say
out of those guys.
that particular scene I thought was much better done in Daredevil 2. So Daredevil 2, there was a scene where he's going to, it reminded me very similar.
Down the stairs.
Down the stairs. Luke Cage is going up the stairs. I thought that is the best action scene ever in any TV show, in my opinion, was Daredevil 2 coming down those stairs. God damn, that was good. But outside of that, it was still done very well. It's kind of interesting because he's so unstoppable that he just walks through 30 guys like nothing. So at some point, they're going to have to do something to challenge him a little more.
Yeah. I mean, they did in Jessica Jones because we had some guy who could take over his mind and then would use him against other people.
Do you think we'll see Jessica Jones in this at all?
I don't know, but I bet we'll see, like, I feel like we're going to see Trish or somebody who's adjacent to Jessica that comes into play.
I think we see Iron Fist in this at some point.
You think so?
I got to believe they're going to start they want these to be connected, closer. You're seeing characters that are going to cross over already. I think at some point we'll see, maybe not him in action, but I think we'll meet the character and you won't even know it.
Just in passing.
Yep. Yeah. And
well, I mean, anybody who's like, hey, I know that actor.
Yeah. Otherwise, you might not even realize it, but I think we'll see Iron Fist at least in this. Because this is really setting up, we'll after this, it'll feed into Iron Fist, and then it feeds into the Defenders, which the Defenders I'm super excited about.
Yeah. I've got one more good tweet that I had to share with you. I kept saving all of these ones because I was like, oh my God, this is hysterical. But I guess this guy just tweeted about how he was watching Luke Cage with his girlfriend, and she said, when Luke came on screen. And so he was like, so we're not watching that anymore. And then the Luke Cage Twitter account tweeted him and said, she like coffee?
That's pretty good, actually.
Right?
That's really good.
Yet again, another running gag where it's like, coffee, you know exactly what coffee means. You want to get some coffee?
And Luke Cage doesn't drink coffee.
No, he does not. but he
likes
gives
to
good coffee.
Yeah, he likes to go out for coffee a lot. Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
That's
I can't wait
funny
to finish this season.
No, I can't either. It is. Part of me wants to slow down because you want to savor it a little bit and think about it. In the same sense, I could just see me powering through all these episodes tonight.
Oh, totally.
God damn. I might even watch this a second time. Like,
yeah. Well,
I could totally see a lot of the shows I watch once, I think about, I'll read reviews, and then I'm done and say that was great. But this one, much like Stranger Things, I found myself watching Stranger Things the second time. This could be right there. I think they did a really good job with this so far.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I love everything that Marvel is doing on Netflix. It's just, it gives them so much more freedom to do things, and you can see it because the Defenders series are great.
Well, I can't wait for that Defenders show. With the Hand, if you know the story behind the Hand is a crime scene or crime outfit that's even bigger than the Kingpin, and that's going to be...
Which we've already seen in Daredevil Season 2.
There was a little bit of it, in Daredevil 2. That's going to be spectacular, getting those guys together. Power Man and I'm just going to go fucking off the hooks if they show Power Man and Iron Fist together during this season, or whenever it happens. I can't wait to see those two together.
Yes. All the punching.
Well, I'll tell you, me and my brother would argue about these things, and there was a couple of characters I really liked, but I used to stick up for Power Man and Iron Fist, and my brother would tell me how ridiculous that comic is as he's reading, Fantastic Four. And so did you know Power Man was part of Fantastic Four for a short period of time?
Sounds about right. Probably made them way more interesting than they were. So
well, he was for hire, and Dr. Doom owed him money.
Gotta collect.
And he went after Dr. Doom to collect his money, and he got bitch slapped.
So since you're only an episode ahead of me, I will check. Has he said Sweet Christmas yet?
He said yes once.
Oh, great.
But I don't think he says it until the beginning of episode 5.
Okay.
But
he says it in Jessica Jones, and I was like, if he does not say it
he does
in
say
the series.
He does say it finally. He says Sweet Christmas. I think yes, it is. Episode 5 at the beginning.
Okay.
When he realizes, he's telling the backstory, he realizes what kind of power he has. He looks at the camera and says, "Sweet Christmas."
Oh my God. I just got goosebumps.
All right. That's his running line. All right. I can keep talking about this, but it's fabulous, fabulous show. But
yeah, now we've got a game to play.
Uh-oh.
I mean, that works.
I just hit them both, right? If you hit the wrong button, you just play it up. It's funny because I did that twice with Tommy last time, the wrong button. But anyway.
This game I came up with, I was just thinking about things I've seen on the internet, but also, have you ever sat down with some friends at the bar and you're kind of just, drinking, having a good time, and then somebody starts a weird ass argument and you're like, what is even happening? And yet you're so into it. I feel like this could be one of those games. And it's the game of Versus, where you take two concepts or characters or mascots or something, and you basically just say, who would win in a fight? Who would kick the shit out of the other one? So today, Dan chose the first, and we are going to be doing Darth Vader versus Voldemort.
Now, when you say this, I'm thinking both characters are in their prime.
Yes.
So
not like
I just want to clarify. It's not Darth Vader in, Return of the Jedi versus
Lord Voldemort as the like scrawny, screwed up. Yeah.
So if they were in their prime.
In their prime. Yeah. So, okay, Star Wars, Harry Potter. Just making sure everybody's clear.
Two of the biggest dark
best
bad guys,
villains.
Pretty much ever. I mean, I always thought Lord Voldemort. Hey, I watched like the movies. I never bought into the Harry Potter thing quite as much, but I always felt like they were trying to create somebody that was at the level of Darth Vader, because he really set the bar.
Yeah, he did.
They set the bar with him.
So you're taking the Darth Vader side.
Absolutely, Darth Vader.
And I'm taking the Voldemort side. So how you want to start? You want to start with me? You want to start with you?
This is your game.
All right.
Ladies first.
Okay. I don't know if I'm a lady, but sure.
Fuck yeah, I am. That's what you're supposed to say. Fuck yeah, I'm a lady.
Hell yeah. I'm a lady as shit. Okay, so Lord Voldemort is the darkest, most powerful, dangerous wizard of all time. He does not give a shit about anybody. He will kill children. He will kill families. He'll kill his own followers. He doesn't care. He just wants to be the most powerful.
So you just described Vader.
Pretty much.
Right? So Vader, there was the scene, episode 3, that we all want to forget, but it happened in episode 3. He walked into the Jedi Academy and slaughtered everybody, including
the younglings.
A ton of younglings, right? You're talking about somebody not giving a shit. Now, I will say he has one thing he does. It seems like he always cares about somewhere in the back of his mind is his children. He's always got that haunting. But outside of that guy don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Well, Voldemort doesn't have children. He literally has no ties to anyone on this planet.
That doesn't make him better.
Yeah, that's
doesn't
true.
mean he's going to be better. I will say now, Vader, if they strip out the power for just a minute, the Force versus his magic, this is an easy win for Vader.
Yeah, that's probably true.
If we win hand-to-hand combat, Vader, and I actually think they did him it's part of it is because the time when Star Wars was made, they didn't do Darth Vader the justice of showing how good he was probably at combat and strength. And there is a reference, though. You even see, I think it's in Empire Strikes Back. Maybe it's Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker actually hits him with a lightsaber, and it sparks off his armor but does no damage. So if you really, he
did pick up one guy when one of the rebels and just picked him up.
He has a certain level of strength that, because he's part mechanical.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah, he has a certain level of strength. He's not super fast, but he has, according to the references of his comics and the books, he does have the ability to speed up using Jedi when he needed to. But the fact he has, the lifesaver and the combat skills, he would slaughter Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Fuck him. I'm not saying his name right.
That's your argument. I'm not going to say his name right. That's how much he matters. To counter that, so Voldemort might not have the physical strength, But he has literally been this angry from day one. Whereas Anakin Skywalker was like at least a good person at one point in time. Tom Riddle, who was the wizard before he became Lord Voldemort, like just wanted pain and misery for everyone else. He was a small child and he was like, how can I tear my soul into multiple pieces so I can live forever? I don't care what I have to do to get it.
But just be mad. Like, how is that going to help him stop Vader?
Rage fighting is some of the best fighting.
Not always the smartest fighting.
Not always the smartest, no. But if you're a tiny person and you go up against a big person, the rage can carry you.
So how does Lord Voldemort
Voldemort.
say it real slow?
We will get this at one point.
How does he stop Vader at all?
Magic. If Vader can use the Force, Voldemort will use magic. He studied the dark arts.
He did.
And he can kill someone with a single swoop of his wand.
Now what's that called? What's that? The
Avada Kedavra.
So I noticed when he does that in the movies, that the people in the movies that they seem not to have a problem just to move out of the way. Right? They've been able to move and not hit people.
Sometimes, yeah.
You got a guy like Vader that is just oozing with the Force, right? That is going to be no problem for him to dodge.
He's going to push it out of the way with the Force.
No problem to dodge.